Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Intelligent, responsible people, and in this case, historians, usually refrain from coming up with morally justified conclusions of an event, or try to justify the morality and who was right and who was wrong on a certain kind of event, historical event, especially when that event is still hot or is ongoing. Why? Because the historians do not definitely have a complete or a strong case to write the history at that point, because information, knowledge, and all that might still be coming that would change the initial assessment. That's why an historical event that occurs, let's say in Ukraine, a historian will not write a book now about how great Zelensky was. He can do that, but that's very flawed. Why is that? Because we might find out tomorrow certain things that would run really against what the historians wrote about and how the historian glorified the leader that he writes about. And it's not something that he can hide behind, which is this argumentation. Well, that's what we knew at that time. Well, you knew better. You know, you don't have a complete picture of the leader yet. Why a lot of things are still on their way and nothing is settled. So if you see a book writing about, let's say, Zelensky at this point, you just don't buy that, because that is based on this much information coming from a person who wants something right now. Because we don't know exactly what we're going to find out, what happened in Ukraine on his side. So we can say, well, actually, Zelensky was not what this book writes about. But don't worry, the historian is going to write another book. He will contradict the first book, and he's going to justify it by saying, well, more evidence came out. No, timing. What am I talking about? Why did I make this little introduction? This is because it seems like in the US Congress, there were some elected officials who claimed or who wanted to build a bust for Zelensky and place it in the building, in a Senate, or I don't know, in a Congress, on a Capitol. Did you hear that? So there are people who want to build a bust and put it over there as, I don't know, Abraham Lincoln, or I don't know, George Washington or something. Do you understand what's going on? These guys do not know anything yet who this guy really is. It's a political pressure to be viewed as a certain kind of guy, and history did not make yet a determination if this guy is a saint or something else. Now, this is how our elected officials think over there, or you know what I mean, the opposite of thinking. So let's see what's going on here. We have an article from, I took this from Russia Today, but you find it in other sources. In January 12, 2023, this is Thursday, US lawmakers slam insane Zelensky bust proposal. The proposal should not have been even put forth by anybody who has an IQ, not IQ, because I think people are not idiots in this case. I think they're just, look at me, I'm on your side, give me more money for the campaign, because it's campaign donations called. Republican congressmen claim the idea plays into the, and I'm quoting, worship of the foreign leader. Hey, you just had that guy coming in your house, dressed like a thug. Supposedly he's under attack. He couldn't put a suit on. He just wants to show that he's ready to fight for your freedom and my freedom. BS, okay? He showed up in the Congress. He went over there and had a little speech. People did some squats up and down, like little minions over there, like baboons, you know. And then the guy left, got the money, and left without making any threats. And a lot of people over there knew exactly what I told you. The guy comes over there, does this, gets the money, and leaves. Anyway, Conservative U.S. lawmakers critical of the adulation of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky have rallied against a proposal to place a bust of the foreign leader in the Capitol building in Washington. U.S. Representative, this is the person's name, Joe, not Biden, Wilson, has suggested making a Zelensky statue and a permanent feature. Did you hear that? So this guy, Joe Wilson, like the tennis, apparel, whatever, he wants to make that. Not only tennis, but Wilson, a Republican from South Carolina, made a proposal on Monday to direct the Fine Arts Board to obtain a bust, and I'm quoting, for display in a suitable permanent location in the House of Representatives wing of the United States Capitol. I was quoting, end quote. I don't have to. It says here that some members of the GOP Freedom Caucus, whatever, include Andy Briggs of Arizona, one of its leading members, asked whether Congress allocating over $100 billion in aid to Ukraine was not enough. End quote. They will not do anything. You know why? Because both parties are supported by the same parent. Right there. So, popular conservative talk show host Tucker Carlson branded the idea, and I'm quoting, insane, telling viewers that Zelensky is a, and I'm quoting, dictatorial politician who banned opposition parties in his country and is currently cracking down on a Christian denomination. Having a bust of Zelensky at the Capitol would allow Americans to, and I'm quoting, worship him daily, he joked. Carlson lamented that the fact that the proposal came from a Republican and called Wilson a pretty nice guy. Well, you know what? It doesn't really matter it came from a Republican or a Democrat. It's like Carlson still thinks that, I think, still has the illusion that the Republicans and the Democrats are different. But probably he can't just drop everything and say they're all the same, because he needs to try to put some, pressure some, at least, by making them look like this and like that. But I think there's no illusion that these guys are not doing much. I mean, just think about it. The history is not determined. How should I put it? Finite. Did not determined who this guy is. I mean, really. And they want to build a bust. And the thing is like this. When you make a mistake, there are consequences, correct? There should be consequences. Otherwise, you don't learn and you're going to keep doing the same mistake. Now, the same, look at, for instance, from the perspective of this, whatever he was, Wilson, Joe Wilson. All right? If Joe Wilson thinks that that's appropriate, and we'll have people who think that way, okay, let's build that bust. Let's put it over there. And then when you have a more complete assessment of Zelensky's character and decisions and, persona, then what are you going to do? You're just going to shrug and say, yeah, okay, I didn't know at that time, let's change it. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. That's why you don't convict someone until you get all the evidence. You say, well, at that time, well, you have it at that time, but at least you gather the evidence and you give it time. You give the prosecutors, time. You give all those the guys who are going to take care of the whole stuff to get the evidence, and then they schedule a court date and they go on and on and on, right? Appeals over appeals, and getting more information and more witness and so on. But this is too quick, too fast. But hey, I understand that intelligence and character are not very popular in Washington, D.C., but money and power is or are. Anyway, just think about it. It's just... and then this is what bothers me. You can't change certain things without leaving a scar somewhere. Because you're going to say, oh, well, that's all we need. Remember when one of the justifications of destroying Iraq? What did they say? What was the the argument that they did it after they found out it was nothing that they said they will find? Well, that was the intelligence information we had at that point. So based on the intelligence we had at that point, we acted that way and we screwed up everybody over there. Yeah, but weren't you too fast to act? Did you get information, or it was just an assessment based on ideological and certain kind of interests based, was it? So that was the argument, the counter-argument. That was the knowledge. And now we find out it was wrong. Well, can you go and get those guys who were killed, the country destroyed, the guy hanged and all that? Can you bring them back and redo the whole thing? No. So what are you going to do? Anybody punished? No. No, nobody. Imagine that you would be one of the guys at your job doing something like this based on the information that you just grabbed at your right now, and you have the same consequences where, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people are, this and that, a country or two or three are and then you say, well, that was the information I have, boss, so let's move on, give me a raise actually. Well, why does it work there but doesn't work in our lives? So the same with these guys. Build that bust, put it over there. After you find out more about the individual, you're going to take it out after a few years, after you have school children coming over there every year, visiting the capital, looking at, yeah, this is the great Zelensky. Now those kids, they're going to come back and say, oh, after a few years, that was a lie. No, they will live with the impression that Zelensky, oh, I saw the book, Zelensky. They will all know about Zelensky based on a complete, picture of the guy. No, and besides, you don't do that. I mean, you equate that with, even you find about, what's his name, Churchill. Just look at his memoirs. And not only memoirs, you find out about Churchill, his sponsors, what happened when he became prime minister, how he became prime minister, and many more than that. And then what are you going to do? I don't want to know about it. I don't want to know. He's going and being in London and showing up. Yeah, this is those famous pictures with him with the ruins. Where was he located when the V1, V2 were coming and hitting London and Coventry and all that? Do you remember? Just look and see where he was. He was in London with you guys. Okay, yeah, good luck. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.